nerds should not be this happy about books.
And that's how we're gonna start off the show. We getting ready to go live. I think we are live. So let's go ahead and
listen, aren't we always live? Let's hope we are. Anyway, peace, 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 peace. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful day of spring, even though it's raining. But what better day to hang out with me and Nick talking about what? Books. We love our books. We love our books. And you are here with Mawu Lisa Temple's UnRead Book Series. Every 2 weeks, Nick and I come together and we bring you books that we have not read because unread. So these are books that we have found or were given or were suggested to us over some time that either we have not read them or it's been a long time since we read them. Let's also say that too, because some of the books we bring are books that are old staples that new folk and maybe some old folk need to bring to their library. So Nick, I'm glad you're here. I'm here. Like I said, it's raining. Now, whoever got to see the video I put up on YouTube the other day, saw I had on my orange because I was willing spring into place. Today, I am wearing yellow to will spring into place. Now, we see it's not happening. But at the same time, we are going to pretend like it's sun shining as bright as this yellow I got on today. And we are going to bring you some unread books. This is Surprise Me Week. So I don't know what Nick has, and he doesn't know what I have. But I have to say to Mr. Westbrook, I'm sorry, because I shared a book in that video that I did not share on this series. So I just want to show it to the people. This was the one that was in the video. Check out the whole video by going to MaWu Lisa. That's MaWu Liza 4610. You can see the video where I talked about chakras for beginners. We were tying it into the spring, creativity, intuition, and all of those things. Great book. I gave some background on it. David Pond, check it out. Go over to that YouTube and subscribe, know when we're doing stuff. You know, Mr. Westbrook's always doing something, and I'm learning how to do a little bit more. So with that being said, Mr. Westbrook, I'm gonna let you go first. I'm gonna let you go first because I'm always like, I have to know what he's doing. So now I will say, if you want me to go first, I'll go first. But I'm excited to know what you got going on. How you doing, Mr. Westbrook?
Oh, it don't matter to me. I'm doing wonderful. Yes, it is rainy over here in New Jersey as well. I was out a little earlier, but it's been a rainy March, I've noticed. And spring is always weird, especially around March and April, because you never know what you're going to get, March and April. Because it seems like we're getting the April showers in spring. and then if you think about a year ago when April came around, I don't know if anybody remember this, especially if you live on the East Coast where Roo and I live, but I think the meteorologist said we had more 90-degree days in April than we did like in the summer. So who knows what we're going to get, next month in April. It could be summertime, it could be winter, it could be, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. That's the interesting thing about spring. But one thing that is consistent and is proper is the sunlight. The days are getting longer. Thank you. You know how much I'm tired of it, getting dark at 5 o'clock. So, gradually we're getting longer and longer days. It's still light out at 6 p.m. I love that part of it. Even though it's like 30, 40 degrees, it's light, still light at 6 p.m. So I'm definitely happy about that. And just bringing us up to my Surprise Me offering for this Saturday. All of that's connected. And now this book may or may not surprise you, Roo, because it's an unread that I haven't read, in some years, and it's also an unread that I'm pretty sure I showed to you probably during our second in-person study session. So I have to see if you remember me showing you this one or not. But I decided that it was very timely, so I guess I will go first since I'm kind of transitioning from talking about spring into my offering. So my surprise me offering for this episode 8 of Unread on this spring equinox that just passed a couple of days ago, and on this upcoming Easter and Resurrection Sunday that's coming up next Sunday, not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow. My surprise me offering is The Astrological Foundation of the Christ Myth, Book 1. I'll take a pause for the reaction. It's kind of like when you're giving those speeches and then you say one of them shouting moments and the congregation or the audience got to applause. I had to pause for the for the reaction there.
Preach, preacher.
Yes. So the Astrological Foundation of the Christ Myth, and the author is, this is book 1 of the Astrological Foundation of the Christ Myth. I believe this is a 4-book series, if I'm not mistaken, but I only have book 1. I only have book 1 so far. And the author is, say his name correctly, Malik H. Jabbar. Yeah, we'll go with that. Malik H. Jabbar is the author of the foundation, the Astrological Foundation of the Christ Myth. So I'll bring it in closer. As a matter of fact, I'll put it on the solo screen so we can start our discussion with the cover itself, because we do have some images on the cover. So wait a minute. Am I on the screen? Or wait a minute.
Yes, it's still you and the book, we can see.
Okay, because it's the opposite on mine. Like it has you on the big screen and it has me in the small screen. So okay, all right. I'm looking at the YouTube. Okay, yeah, I got it right. Okay. So okay. I'll just bring it in closer so you can see the images on there, and then I'll also read off what's on the images of the cover. So we have at the top it says summer solstice is Jerusalem. Then under that, it says upper cosmic region symbolizes renewal in life. And there's an image of the moon over to my left, your right of that. And then below that, we have on the far right, my right, I have Christ, the word sun, S-U-N in parentheses, captured at the autumnal equinox. Then you have a symbol of the earth in the center. And then to the left of that, it says Christ, the sun, in parentheses, baptized at vernal equinox. Then underneath that, we have the lower cosmic region, symbolizes persecution and death. Then to the right of that, we have an image of the sun. And the words inside the sun say, Jesus is sun. And there's an arrow pointing up towards the vernal equinox. And then at the bottom, we have winter solstice is Golgotha. Okay. So that's the image on the cover of the book there. And then I'll put us both back on the screen, and I will read what's on the back here, and I'll give some background on how I got this book. So it says the Astrological Foundation of the Christ Myth, Book 1 by Malik H. Jabbar, being an introduction to the basic interpretive systems of astrotheology. And we have a quote from the book on the back cover. It says, the evolution of our modern religious concepts began with astronomy and evolved through mythology and astrology into modern religion. Jesus Christ, Moses, Abraham, and all of the other so-called prophets of the Quran, Bible, Torah, or Tanakh are cosmic myths. They never existed in actual history. These alleged godly disciples are actually the personifications of cosmic lights and regions, and in truth, their fabled stories are no less than ancient registries of astronomical phenomena written in a mythological format. So that's a quote from the book that's on the back here. Now, I don't remember exactly how I came across this book. I don't know if I just saw it online or if I was listening to a lecture or watching a documentary and someone mentioned it. I don't remember that part, but I do remember the approximate time and my life experiences that I was experiencing as I read this book. I think it was around 2017 when I read this book. It was during my I don't know if I would call it awakening, but just during the time where I was doing a lot of reading and research on this topic, specifically dealing with astrotheology, dealing with comparative mythology, dealing with Christianity. Around this time, which started, this era probably started around 2012, 2013. So between the years of 2013 and 2017, I know it started with me still being in Washington, D.C. as a college student, but, getting ready to graduate, me attending the Egypt on the Potomac cultural field trip with Tony Browder, followed by, watching the Zeitgeist documentary and, watching Ray Hagen lectures and reading, also going back to Tony Browder, reading Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization, reading the World's 16 Crucified Saviors by Kersey Graves, reading Christianity Before Christ by John Jackson. So this was all around that era. So that, this was a major study theme for me during that time. So that's around the time that I came across this book. And what makes this book different from the other books and videos, lectures, documentaries that I watched was how deeply, Mr. Jabbar goes into the astronomy of it all. Most of these conversations, they kind of just deal with the sun and the focus is on the sun. But if you go into this book, you go into the appendix, right? If you go into the appendix of this book, he has all the stars in alphabetical order. All the stars in alphabetical order here. He also has the zodiac signs with their mythical correlations in here too. So he includes that as well. For example, the Aries being represented by the ram, Taurus the bull. So he has that for all the zodiac signs. He has the primary 14 stars of the zodiac in here. Also, the symbolism of the planets and what deities are associated with the planets, planetary rulers, the days of the week, and what planets rule over those days. He has all the constellations in here with the definitions. So very thorough when it comes to the astronomy / astrology, aspects of this subject. And the reason why this book is connected to the spring or vernal equinox is because one of the arguments put forth is that is that Christianity, or the story of Jesus Christ, is based on astronomy and astrology. And this time of the year is one of the most significant times of the year astronomically when it comes to, Christ and Christianity. In fact, the whole foundation of Christianity is the birth, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Easter Sunday is the biggest Sunday for church attendance. I know, at least growing up it was. Church used to be packed out on Easter Sunday. So it's, to say the least, is a very significant time. Now, I mentioned that this book is an introduction to the basic interpretive systems of astrotheology. So he opens up the book by giving some background and some definitions, some working definitions of astrotheology. So I'll start there. So he defines astrotheology as a religious doctrine, stories, tales, or fables, composed and based on the tracking of the heavenly or cosmic lights. That is to say, the sun, moon, stars, and planets. Under this storytelling system of the ancients, the heavenly lights were personified with human names and titles. And then skipping ahead, he goes on to say that true astrotheology is based on the observational astronomy of the ancients, which varies in some very significant aspects to modern astronomy, which is technical or mechanical and bereft of any underlying esoteric symbolisms, except perhaps as carryovers from the old style of the ancients. And then he also, he's given, so the first chapter is all definitions. So we have the definition of astrotheology, and we also have the definition of myth and mythology, because I did mention that from the quote on the back cover of the book. So he defines mythology as the recording of data, encoded symbolical forms such as fables and the like, tales that cannot be literally true because of the irrationality of the literal content, but nevertheless unveil cogent truths or opinions when decrypted. So we have the working definition of mythology, astrotheology. We also have symbolism of numbers. So symbolism of the 40, symbolism of the 3. He also has defines parallelism in here to open up. So that's chapter 1. And to go through the chapters here, it's a very thin book too, if you haven't noticed. It's only about 100 and change, about 120 pages here, including the appendix. So he has four appendices in here. Well, actually five appendices in here in the table of contents. So the actual content really is less than that. It's really only about 70 to 80 pages. So it's a very compact, very concise book. But like I said, this is one of 4 in a series, probably about the same size. So very digestible, but packed with a lot of information. But to highlight the other chapters that are covered in here, chapter 2, we have the cosmic womb. Chapter 3, we have Christian mythology. Chapter 4, we have social implications. Chapter 5, we have the flaming sword. So those are the chapters, and then we have the appendix introduction, and then I'll show you some. When I get to the end of the book, I'll show you some of the graphics, because he has a section for graphics, just like he has a graphic on the front cover. But just to highlight the timeliness of this season and this time of the year, let's find a passage about the spring or the vernal equinox, and see the Christ connection to what's happening astronomically, with the sun being out longer days, and the connection or relationship to the Christ story. Let's go to page 55 here. And as mentioned on the front cover, Jesus' son, the S-U-N. So this passage talks about the crucifixion from an astronomical point of view. So it says, Jesus the Son was crucified at Golgotha, the place of the skulls. The word Golgotha is connected to the sign of Capricorn. A definition pertaining to the skull is found within both of the words Capricorn and Golgotha, also Calvary. See any Bible dictionary for verification of these definitions. Jesus was crucified at Golgotha, and Golgotha is synonymous with the Capricorn. Both terms signify a place of skulls, a clear indication of the grave and death. The word Capricorn signifies the goat, and the goat is the symbol of the devil in much of the symbolism. Capricorn is the devil constellation of the zodiac, situated at the extreme or lowest end of the zodiac, hence a pit, grave, cave, etc. A historical Jesus never lived. It is the son that was murdered and buried at Capricorn equals Golgotha, and subsequently resurrected 3 days later as the sun resurged from the point of solstice. So this is talking about the winter solstice. When you have the longest day of darkness around December 21st, and where the sun kind of stands still for like those 3 days, and then on December 25th, starting from December 25th, the days gradually, slowly but surely, we see more sunlight, more and more sunlight. So that's what this is referring to. So that's actually the winter solstice. There was another passage in here about the spring equinox. Let me see if I can find it, see if I marked it. Let's see, let me go back. Okay, I think this is it right here. So this actually goes through the 4 cycles. So it breaks down the summer cycle about, the placement of the sun and the degrees. Same thing with the fall or autumn and the winter, which I just read, when the sun is at its lowest point. Now for the spring, this passage starts out by saying that the cycle which the ancients saw as the greatest of all. So they consider the spring the greatest of all those 4 cycles. And not only do they say it was the greatest of all, he also makes a point to identify it as the new year. The new year. The point in time at which the sun on the ecliptic intersects the celestial equator at the vernal equinox. This date, March 21st. Wait, what's today's date again? March 23rd? March 21st was just 2 days ago. This day, March 21st, was traditionally the commencement of the new year. In ancient times, as well as today, they celebrated the victory of the sun over the forces of the netherworld, the sun's emergence into its glory by defeating the powers of the great Typhon, that evil serpent that lurked and prowled in the perilous celestial waters beneath the celestial equator. And on this day, March 21st, the beginning of spring, the ancients saw the celestial sun, God the Father, impregnating the cosmos, the Virgin Mother, with the sperm of life, rejuvenating element that will one day produce a new son, a savior, a son of an S-O-N of the S-U-N, a Christ, to replace and renew the kingdom of the S-U-N once this present son's time, S-U-N's time, had passed. So March 21st, vernal equinox, very significant, very, very important in this astrotheological study and discussion here. Let me just make sure, let me see. See what else they say about March 21st. It marked the commencement of the period of gestation for the future savior, SUN of the world. We know that human gestation lasts for 280 days. So it is also with the sun god. The period of gestation for the macrocosm, celestial sun god, is the same as the microcosm created image, i.e. the SON of God, as well as the human species in total. Let us count the days leading from March 21st, the vernal equinox, to see where 280 days will take us. 11 days, including March 21st, brings us to the end of March. Now we must add 30 days for April, 31 for May, 30 for June, 31 for July, 31 for August, 30 for September, 31 for October, 30 for November, and 25 days for December. That adds up to 280. Thus, the human gestation of 280 days is exactly equated with the solar gestation of 280 days as pertaining to the expectant Savior born on December 25th. As above, so below. Look at that. 280 days. I'm just seeing if there's anything else that I want to touch on about the vernal equinox, since we are in that season. Because I just want to give you all just a little sample here. With some of the biblical and astronomical numerology. The number 40. The number 40 refers to the lag time between the sun reaching the equinoxes to the actual terrestrial effect on the earth that takes about 40 days to materialize. The spring and the fall begin officially when the sun crosses the equinoxes, but the effect on the earth's weather is delayed for a period of 40 days. I wasn't even looking for that passage. I just flipped to it. I'm like, everybody's like, why is it so cold? It's supposed to be spring. Why is it so cold? Well, we got, it looks like we have a delay there. Looks like we have a delay there. So I think that's it that I want to share from the body of this book. I think I will close out by showing the graphics. I already shared some of the appendix, but I want to show some of these graphics here. So let me go to the graphics. So we have several graphics here. I'll put myself up on the screen so I can get the bigger picture. All right, so let me show these graphics here. Then we also have a narrative or description of the graphics. So we have an arrow that indicates the path of the sun around the earth. So that's what this first graphic is showing. This next graphic is showing the movement of the sun and the moon around the earth. Same thing with graphic 3. So they're showing the movements of the sun and the moon around the earth at different points. So graphic 3 is showing that the sun during the summer solstice in Cancer. Graph 4 is showing the autumn equinox. So he gives you the visual representations also, since some of us are visual learners. So he gives the images of what's happening. what's happening astronomically with these cosmic and celestial beings. And lastly, graphic 5 represents the apparent movement of the sun around the planet, and it's showing the birth and resurrection of the sun and what that looks like astronomically. So what I have just offered you once again, ladies and gentlemen, is the astrological foundation of the Christ myth, book 1 by Malik H. Jabbar. I definitely recommend it, and I recommend it so much that I need and will go and get and read the rest of this series. The other 3 books that are part of this series. So this is a reminder for me, Mr. Westbrooks, go read the rest of the series. Go get it. So that's my offering.
I am like mad geeked over here. Just let me. Where even to begin? First of all, for those of you who don't know, have never had the opportunity to come together with me and Mr. Westbrooks when we talk about books. We come with book bags ready. We come old school. We come with a whole bag of books, and we come prepared to spend at least 3 days talking about books.
And that's not even enough time.
It was not enough time, sir. It was not. Let me just say, I remember when you pulled that book out, I was like, I've never seen that one before. And this is the reason why we do what we do, because we both have books on this topic, but it's so nice to see other authors' offerings on this, because their perspective, what they bring, is sometimes just like really like, oh yeah, or either it's a confirmation for something that you've already read someplace else. Again, we forget that we are not starting out with this information like in preschool. Many of us are getting this stuff in our late 20s, 30s, 40s, some 50s, some even 60s. So some of this stuff, the deep indoctrination that has taken place, especially in the form of Christianity, it is hard for people to digest some of this. There are going to be people right now calling BS all over this offering. You know that. We know this. We see it in real life. We hear it in real life when we have conversations with people about this particular topic, the Christ topic. I just want to push this out there real quick because it's so powerful. Just in the video I did the other day, I was talking about this being one of the greatest times ever. This is a great time, first of all. But what you made me think about from what you read from one of the passages is we forget the stars. We forget the stars do what the stars be doing, right? And so we'll hear, oh, this star and this star and this star is aligned, blah, blah, blah. And, for many of us, we don't know what that means. You know what I mean? The sky looked pretty at night, whatever. But I thought about how this is the first, for me, recognizing it, this is the first time where the three major religions, their highest holy days are lining up, because you just had Purim, you got Palm Sunday, you got Easter, right?
Yeah.
Then you got Ramadan going on right now. So it's like all the things are happening. And when you see the book that I brought, you're gonna be like, oh. And for everybody watching, they gonna know me and my brother, we got a connection like no other. We be beaming. We be beaming on the books, yo. Because what I'm bringing is just like so tied into this. But let's get back to your book. First of all, you shared with us that it's 3 other books. I can't even imagine, just from the table of contents that you read, what could possibly be in the other 3. So I am intrigued, and that is definitely an unread for me. It was an unread for me when you shared the first time, and it's definitely an unread for me still. So a note to myself, you know what I'm saying, Miss L Bay, get on your job. You know what I'm saying? You know, get on your job. But you know, it's fascinating to me that we have people who study the stars. Those of you who follow me, they know that I just came back from Vanderbilt University down in Tennessee. Shout out to Vanderbilt University. Shout out to Miss Brown for inviting me down and talk to some of the smartest students that deal with astrophysics and astronomy. You know, I am always surprised with people that study study a topic so deeply, can't see a can't see a cross reference or a commonality in some of the things that we talk about. You know, they don't talk about it as it's real science. What possible, you know, effects could a star or a planet have on a person on Earth? I don't know. Go look it up. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, the way Mr. Jabbar there explains things, he's showing you from a true science, as people would say, not the pseudoscience aspect, but then also tying that into the actual myth story and this so-called pseudoscience of astrology. I found that fascinating. And always, you know, growing up, I was, you know, we weren't very quote unquote religious. However, I've always had an affinity go towards more spiritual occult things. I've always been that person. I love researching things like that. I studied comparative religion at the collegiate level because of the fact that, you know, I just wanted to know so much, and let alone that street level of going to see C. Freeman Ill, who was, oh my God, just amazing when it talked about this topic, and Bobby Hemmett and some of the other greats, you know, Hakeem Bey, you know, Sister Ras Mariah. Come on, now you know. Sister Ras Mariah did the psychological aspects of astrology. She, you know, she be on it, you know, but just in the offering that you read us in the short passages, I mean, I think people could glean what they can learn from a book like this. Let me just also just close up with saying, you know, I love that he did the graphics. You know, like you said, people are visual learners, and for those people who still view astrology as a pseudoscience, this gives them something quote unquote concrete, even though you know how we feel about that. Give them something concrete to kind of look at, to say, well, this is what the scientists said, so it must be true. And for the people, you know, who are struggling with the myth itself, I think it offers a good starting point to at least ask some questions. And I love that you gave the example of the how many days to get from one event to the other. That one right there, come on, hands down. I mean, you're gonna have to question that. I mean, that'll make you go and say, Deacon Jones, I'm gonna need to ask you a question. You know what I'm saying? Imam so-and-so, I'm gonna need to ask you a question. Rabbi so-and-so, I'm gonna need to ask you a question. What is going on with this? You know what I mean? And I think that also the offering that he made of distinguishing what mythology is, you know what I'm saying? And you know how it is sometimes stories that are just, you know, unbelievable. You know what I mean? By just, you know, by standards. And they'll say, well, you know, God works in mysterious ways. You ain't never lied. That's all I'm gonna say. You ain't never lied. But you know, I was gonna ask you, if, first of all, how much was that book there at the time when you purchased it? On the back there, what does it say for us?
Well, Well, I did. I'm pretty sure I bought it off of Amazon, so the price on the cover might not be the same as the Amazon
Okay.
price, but the price on the back of the cover says $9.95.
Oh, wow. Look at that. What a gem. What a gem. What a gem. And this is kind of one of the things we love to share in this series is letting people know that, look, these books, you look at the book bans. We don't have to talk about that. We have a special day that we set aside to talk about the book bans. But the current book bans that are going on is letting you know that some of these things are not going to be available at some time. Everything is not, I know for all the people who are technology, they think everything you can find it online. Some of this stuff is just not going to be online. We have a lot of self-published authors who are not putting their work online. And we need to remember this moving forward, that if we want some of this great work, if we want to be able to truly share the thoughts and the perspectives and the things of the people of our day, we are going to have to do this, because it is just who's telling your story, who's telling the story. And we really need to take a look at that. So that was what I wanted to end with that. Was there anything else you wanted to share with us about that book?
It was just one more thing about the publisher, because when you mentioned the banned books and books being available, the name of the publisher is very ironic. The name of the publisher, this book was published by Rare Books Distributors, and in Dayton, Ohio. Rare Book Distributors.
This is what I'm saying. And people just witness. We be on point with this thing right here. This is what we do. We bleed books. You know what I'm saying? As I was saying in that video the other day, just snatching it out the ether. This is our story told over and over and over again by different people, different perspectives, and it's just an amazing thing. It is just an amazing thing. And yes, it is a rare book. That is definitely one I would like to add to my cart today. So, and remember, everybody, we don't get any money for talking about these books. We talk about these books because we just them. We are the book folk. You know what I mean? And we love sharing what we've taken time over years, to collect those books. Now, I know y'all see Mr. Westbrook's books in the back there. If y'all think that's all his books, y'all out y'all mind. And y'all can't even see mine because you know what I mean? It's like, but what I'll say to you is building a book collection is one of those things that it's like with any other collection, man. You gotta really love what you do, be willing to go to some weird places to find books and have your mind open enough to pick up something that you probably wouldn't read. I think that is how, I know for myself, that is how I came across a lot of interesting books. Just a topic that I would not read any other time. And I just like, you know what? This look interesting. Let me pick this up and see what they talking about. And again, it's our responsibility to take these little gems we be finding in different places and find a way, you know what I'm saying, to be like, this can be applied. You know what I'm saying? Information is great, but if it's not applicable, you know what I mean? It's just words in your mouth. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, man, that was a great offering. You got me. You got me good with that one.
Well, I know you about to give me good back, and I know you about to get your lick back. So you ain't gotta worry about it.
You better know I'm gonna get my lick back. First of all, I'm in the process of moving, so I'm packing up my books. Which I'm gonna be honest with you, everything just about is packed in my house. It is so hard for me to put my books in a box. It's just like, wait a minute, I need this one. Wait a minute, I need this.
Yeah. You always got something to reference.
It's hard for me to put my box and my toys in boxes. My books and my toys in boxes. It's just hard because I need every toy out and I need every book out. But anyway, so when we were planning Surprise Me, I was like, what book can I bring? Mr. Westbrook's, he pretty on it. So I can't, I just can't be throwing any old thing out there because people like, oh, I read that yesterday. You know what I mean?
Come on now.
So I'm always like, let me see what I can bring. Now, again, for those of you who know me, they know I lean towards the spiritual, the religious, whatever you want to call it, the occult sciences. So I was trying not to come from there. It's so tempting when it's this time of year because it's like, and the fact that it's Ramadan, I am feeling like, I am feeling open. I am pulling stuff out the ether like, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know what I'm saying? In a posture of gratitude for all the information that's coming through. So I was like, it's going to be a rainy day. I didn't know how rainy, but I said, let me try to do something fun. Anybody that knows me know I'm a big kid at heart. Saturdays is cartoons, karate, peanut butter and jelly, and comic books. You know what I mean? And so today I decided to bring, bam, the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse hardcover, everybody. You hear that hardcover? Brand spanking new to you. Been on my collector's shelf for a little while now. And let me tell you something. This book is fire. And I love that it's connected to your book because we're talking about the death phase, the Four Horsemen, coming in and just doing what they do, reaping destruction and chaos. Anybody that got eyeballs and ears know the things that are going on in this world. Wars and rumors of wars are taking place right now. All kinds of plagues and all the nasties. You know what I mean? Just all the nasties. And I was thinking to myself, when I tell people that I'm a comic book collector, I think sometimes they look at you and think that you stuck in childhood or, you holding on to all these old books. Well, call me a book hoarder. I don't care. I've been called worse by better. You know what I'm saying? But what I will say is when it comes to just like any other book with comic books, I found when I go back and I read them now, I see them with different eyes. Oh, do I see them with different eyes? And I have so much respect for the people who write and illustrate these books. Like Stan Lee, y'all know how I feel about Stan Lee. Y'all know how I feel about Stan Lee. That entity was just that. He was an entity. If you understand the Marvelverse, you understand that everything is connected. And if you are fortunate enough to start seeing those connections, it makes this life comedy. I'm going to be honest with you. Some of this is just comedy. I always think about that saying that they say about Shakespeare when the whole life is just a stage and we're just mere actors. You know what I mean? Comics will let you see that. These books, and graphic novels, unlike some of the little comic books, with all the super fun stuff and all that stuff like that, graphic novels get graphic. They call them graphic for a reason. They call them graphic for a reason. So this one is The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse by Bisley and Mendenheim, right? And let me just say, first of all, the color is popping. The color is so it is just on point. And I mean, I don't know if you can see that character there, but he looking pretty, Four Horsemen. Anyway, I'm gonna throw on my glasses, and you saw the way I did it. I flicked them open, And so I want to read something from the forward here, okay? It says, the end is here. And we all been hearing the end is near right now. So the end is here. This comic masterpiece is really about how Michael Mendenheim overcame his own version of the Four Horsemen: impatience, fear, aging, venture capitalists. Various partners got scared as Michael fended off the horsemen for nearly a decade. His labor of love and courage required the patience of a prophet, while Michael stuck to his vision like a laser beam. And here we are now with his great story, featuring a new kind of flawed and tortured hero. He is on a new kind of epic journey told with majestic characters and graphic art. It opens with David's Psalm 23. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, right? And it says that powerful line was authored by David. He says, I was already aware of the apocryphal horsemen, death, war, famine, and pestilence. But one day as I read Psalm 23, I thought about what a heroic situation it was, with the feeling of a hero so courageous that he could fearlessly conduct himself in darkness and shadows, even knowing that one of the badass horsemen lurked nearby. I concluded that it would make a great video game if you could play a dark hero battling against the four horsemen to save the world. Naturally, I took the idea to Michael. I've always enjoyed collaborating with Michael because he is so interdisciplinary and creative. Able to think a variety of media and product classes, gave range and capability from humor to dark drama. He already created a best-selling video games and had turned into TV shows and toys. I knew he could run with this little kernel of an idea better than anyone. He didn't just run with it. He exploded, expanded, stretched it, built it, and turned it into many marvelous and unexpected ideas and details that you will now enjoy. You have it in your hands. Trip Hawkins, the CEO, if you can, founder of EA, 3Do, and Digital Chocolate. Bam! Look at that. You know, I really love the fact that this book is so colorful, okay, and so detailed. So let me just say, this book comes in 3 books, but in the graphic book, you have them all. This one, at the time of purchase, was $24.99. $24.99 hardcover, which was one of the first editions of the hardcover that they had come out. If you go and look for it online now, you will find places where it is $70. People ask me why I collect books. I collect books because they appreciate. You know what I'm saying? They grow in value. Now, would I sell my book? No. But at the same times, when times be looking dark, I'll be like, you know, I got like a early 1900s book up in here. But my graphic novels, I tell you, just like my comic books, yeah, you ain't got a chance with that. But in this book, you know, they have a hero who basically decides that he's gonna, you know, his part of his destiny is to fight against the four horsemen, to go and use his darkness to battle theirs. And so the first chapter is called Hell Diver. Okay, first chapter called Hell Diver, and it opens with a beautiful, so just know that I'm a weirdo. A beautiful, horrific, and gory scene of the first battle that he takes part in as he dives into hell. So this is for those who are familiar with comic books, you know things run fast. And so, you know, you just catching up on all different sides. Sometimes they flash forward and back. As he's having this battle, he's thinking about kind of times, which is kind of what brought him to this place where he was tired of dealing with the evils that were going on in the world, and he wanted to have something to do. He wanted to do something about it. In this same chapter, they start to show you a variety of the people who'll be battling. So the four horsemen themselves, they show you one of the main battle areas, which is this old abandoned house here, and which is tied to, and I'm not going to spoil it, it's tied to some of the earlier things that happened while we have the four horsemen at all. Like I said, this book here even has some of the symbology, and I tied that into what you were talking about with your book. How we have all these signs and symbols. People don't realize as above, so below. You see that there and there. So, you have all of these signs and symbols that are used throughout these things. And again, for all those people who think comic books is just for children, you might want to pick one up and learn something. So, if as you see the fire letters there, we know those are Hebrew symbols there. You were talking about Capricorn. There is the Baphomet, which is usually associated with Capricorn. So we have a lot going on here. I mean, it's a great book. By chapter 6, we get to the actual Armageddon, which would be, I guess, where they think we are about now in history, where the plagues and all the kind of things that come in, and people are waking up, and cities and things are on fire, and this is a lot of what we're witnessing right now. And this book, again, like I said, it's a great read. If you are an imagination person, and I say that because so many people don't have complete control of their mind, so imagination is not something that easily comes with them. But if you are one of those people who have full access to your imagination, I promise you, you will read this and you will see a mind movie. And I'm letting you know, it is just amazing. In the back here, they have some of the other possible covers. I love graphic novels too, because if you get a cover, or comic books period, if you get a cover that was like a first edition cover and then they don't make that cover anymore, it makes it more valuable. They show you all the characters and who they were based upon. Some of the art in here is fantastic. They show you the commando, the dark saint assassin, the priest assassin. They show you Reverend Lucas Hand. Can you imagine that being your reverend? Can you imagine that being your reverend? You know what I mean? So it's just really a great book. This is, like I said, fun read. But definitely one, if you sit down with a pencil and paper and you write down some of the things that kind of stand out to you, you could definitely see how this book has really been transformed from just a mythological story into a little bit deeper version of a hero story. And yeah, it's great. And it talks about the video game. I have not tried the video game nor saw this video game, but moving forward, that is definitely something that I would be interested in. I love video games. And it looks like it'll be a good one. And it looks like they're even trying to go into production to make it into a movie at some point. So I love this book. It is definitely a collector's item because of some of the things that it has in here. And I love this part. Oh, the little mystery in the back. Now, if you would write in my book, I'll punch you in the throat. But You know what I'm saying? You can write it on a piece of paper. You know what I'm saying? You can write on a piece of paper, and it says, as you read the book, you'll notice that some of the letters are printed in red. If you separate all the red letters by chapter and unscramble them, they will spell a person, place, or thing which was lost or ceased to exist during the creation of this book. All the clues or answers to this mystery are provided within this book. It's up to you to figure it out. So, my offering, Michael Mendenham, Simon Beasley, there they are right here. This book, The Bomb Diggy. Great for a rainy Saturday. And if I had the video game, you couldn't tell me nothing right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say it would take the place of my martial arts on Saturday, but it sure would give me some to work with myself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that is my offering, The Four Horsemen of Apocalypse. It is a graphic novel, hardcover, beautiful. When I bought it, was $24.99. Now going for about $70 on Amazon. So, comic, don't sleep on them.
Man, you okay? I see what you did there. I see what you did there, and it's so crazy because I was just having a conversation with someone about the Four Horsemen about a week ago. And that conversation came about, shout out to Banca. Banca sent me a picture. I think it came from a post of something someone captured in the sky. Like it was some type of dark looking figure. And she hit me with it and she said, this is either a death angel or one of the Four Horsemen. What's that? What you showing me?
That face looks like the face they've been showing that's supposed to have been by the moon. Somebody and when I saw this, I was like, that looked like this without the hair in the face.
Okay. All right.
Not that picture was real or not, but I found that interesting when I chose this book.
Very interesting. Wow. But yeah, we were talking about the four horsemen. So she says either one of the Four Horsemen or a death angel, So I'm like, you know what? I gotta go grab my Bible and go into Revelations and revisit that passage in there. But I think our conclusion was that it was a death angel, and one of the signs was a lot of death that's going on. She works in the nursing home too, so she's in one of those spaces where souls are kind of coming and going. So she interacts with a lot of those souls and those spirits. So that was the conclusion that she came to. But nevertheless, that was that topic did come up for me about a week ago. But I just, I love that book because I'm a person that's very into apocalyptic literature and dystopian literature too. As scary as it is, it's something that really grabs my attention. I love reading dystopian literature, and what we were saying about the rare books and books becoming, in the importance of collecting books because of their availability, makes me think of dystopian literature about, censorship and books not becoming available, books such as Fahrenheit 451, but that's another conversation. But getting back to the Four Horsemen, like I said, I love that book because it deals with apocalyptic and dystopian literature. But I also appreciate even more so now because I'm picking up on the symbolism, now. And the reason why it seems so scary was because I was looking at it from a super linear, literal point of view. I agree that we're living in those times now. And I was telling Banka this too, that you know, we're living in the end times, and it was not so much based on that image of that death angel, but another video she sent me about this April 8th eclipse that's coming. So I have to send you that video. That's an interesting one because it has some biblical connections in there. But anyway, I bring up the end times to say that doesn't necessarily mean that the world is ending, like the world is just going to explode or disappear out of the atmosphere, but a translation of the word world, and I forgot what scripture it was, but the translation of the word world also translates into age. So going back to the connection between your book and my book, dealing with the astrological and astronomical ages, yes, we are in the last days of this age, which is the age of Pisces, and we are transitioning into the age of Aquarius. So in that sense, it is the end of an age. So the four horsemen, the Armageddon, the apocalypse is happening now to usher in this new age. So that's what makes me excited about your book. I'm not a huge comic book reader or graphic novel reader, but it's something that I feel that I'll be more interested in exploring, because I did explore some graphic novels, such as Persepolis, as I was doing my school instruction, and then also I love the show The Boondocks, and I had the book for the Boondocks, so I'm like, that was just as good as watching the show. So now I think I'm open. I think I'm even more open to the graphic novels and the comics. So I might have to get my hands on that. I might have to invest that $70 into it, or maybe see if I can find it from another source, outside of Amazon. Just like how we talked about with the Slave Side of Sunday.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's a good one right there. Yeah, you definitely surprised me.
But I'm glad, and I'm glad that you are open to exploring some graphic novels and maybe even some old comics. Again, like I said, Stan Lee was a mastermind, and some of the symbology in the lessons you can extract from those. Oh, it is just it's amazing. It's beautiful, and I know I laugh sometimes when I hear myself talk about books and how excited I get, and it's like it's this thirst to just know, even if it does feel a little scary. But like you said, you are removing the fear, because we are getting older, so it's like the things we saw as something as a child, we can't still see it the same way. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yes, some things we'll always see the same way, and that's because, again, we choose to. Let's put that out there. But for the most part, things that are going to progress us towards the best version of ourselves, we have to break away these walls of fear and the things that we were willing not to see to survive. And so now that we are moving towards thriving mode, we have to remove these things of fear so we can create the world we want to see. I agree with you. We left one age and we are building, and we are moving into a new one. And as an Aquarius, I will say that I look at the age of Pisces. Like, when I was a kid, let me just stop myself for a second and forgive me. When I was a kid, you always heard the old people talking about, this is the end of the world. This is the end of the times. This is the end time. That was the scariest ish that you could hear your grandmama say, like, these is the end times. This we going home to Jesus. And it's like, wait, what? Where's we going? You know what I'm saying? Like, that was one of the scariest things to hear the elders say. But now, as a rising elder, I look at what's going on, and I'm looking at how we measure time, because we have to remember time is man-made. You know what I'm saying? And that's the beautiful thing about the book that you offer, is showing the sky clock. You know what I'm saying? Because the sky clock is more accurate than any frame of time we could come up with here. We already know they got us locked in this Gregorian calendar of 12 months. We already know that's wrong. You know what I mean? And if that's wrong, and daylight savings time is wrong, and this and that, we have no real perception of time. We don't know where we are, and we don't know when we are, and most of us don't know who we are. Okay? So when we look at these apocalyptic texts and some of these other texts, it's trying to better understand, when am I, where am I, and how do I fit into this version of what's going on right now? Building a new world. Well, look at what's going on. We notice the season of Pisces, and I just talked about that, how, you know, this is the place of that's the place of psychological warfare, where you fighting with yourself. You fighting with versions of yourself that still want to exist, but you are telling them it is time to go, because there's a new world. There's a new me that I want to be. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see if one of his, and I'm sure he does, in one of Jabbar's later books, if he covers the eclipses, because I'm sure that, you know, those are significant events that they have tied to other things that we are missing the opportunity to utilize, to apply. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at the four horsemen, like, let me just go back to this part right here, if I may. He said, so he was familiar with the apocryphal death, war, famine, and pestilence. Those are the four horsemen according to the Bible, right? He went and wrote this book based on impatience, fear, aging, and venture capitalists. Now you can ask yourself, well, what does that have to do with death, war, famine, and pestilence? I bet you one thing, by the end of this book, you'll know. And if you sit down and think about it, aging and fear of death go hand in hand. What he went and did was he told this story from a hero's journey, trying to deal with these things like impatience. We all struggle with impatience at some point in our lives, if we aren't still dealing with that. You know what I'm saying? We all deal with aging. Venture capitalists, well, look at what's going on right now. You know what I mean? So it's not hard to see how he was able to take those items, those words, that Psalm of David, or that Revelation apocryphal four horsemen, and turn it and write a story for today that can let us see where we are. Doesn't that, you know what I'm saying? And again, I say where we are is because we don't know, and we don't know when we are. 2024, what is that? 2024 ain't nothing. That's 2024 years. That is nothing in the scope of how long this mud ball supposedly been here. And again, I say supposedly, because again, we don't even know if we're here. We don't even know if we're here. You know what I'm saying? And where is here? You know what I'm saying? We named it Earth. Okay. Who said so? You know, like what was it called before that? Was it called Rock to the Left? Oh, wait a minute, Third Rock from the Sun. Oh, okay. But I think this is a great offering. I tell anyone, and I agree with you that you'll probably be able to find a copy of this for much less than $70, because again, people don't value books like we do, and they'll sell it for like $5. You know what I mean? So I'm sure you'll be able to find it. And I said that I wanted to find them separate too, because I think that would be a nice addition to add to my collection. So yeah, that's what I have. The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, graphic novel.
Now that's great. And you definitely switched up the style, you know. You haven't, it seems like you haven't repeated yourself yet, you know, with any of these offerings. You brought something different, a different genre or a different type. I see you out here.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Westbrooks, man, I love doing this. And you know, we could talk about this stuff for hours. And you know, the rain, I don't know how hard the rain is falling over there, but man, it's falling over here like warm covers in cartoon style. So, you know, you'll know what I'll be doing.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I know. Yep.
But that is a wonderful offering. Why don't we show everybody that book again, and I'll show them mine, and we can talk about any closing thoughts. You know, I kind of just gave my closing thoughts on this, but any closing thoughts on yours or mine or both?
Oh, I did.
And, again, this is the book from the other day, y'all, from the equinox.
Oh, and I have something to say about that too. That we talk about publishers and things of that nature too. That book has the same design as, you know, it's different author, but same design cover as one of my numerology books, and as a pendulum book that I know someone has. So they must they must be published by the same company, but you know, with different authors. So I just thought that was interesting.
Wow, we gotta check that out. We gotta check that out.
Yeah, and then that scripture that I was referring to, that was Matthew 28:20. You know, that was the Great Commission, because I remember when I was in church, we used to have to recite the Great Commission at the end of Sunday school, you know, or at the end of our assemblies every time. You know, just to paraphrase, you know, go ye forth, teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, teach them to give all things. And whatsoever I commanded you, and lo, I'm with you always, even until the end of the world. But you know, I mentioned when I read this book around the time I was watching all those Ray Hagen lectures, he gave one lecture. I forgot the title of the subject, but he mentioned that Matthew 28:20 scripture, and he said in another translation, I forgot which translation it was, but in another translation, he said that the word world is translated as the word age. So that's what it was, Matthew 28:20. It says, lo, I'm with you always, even until the end of the world.
Even to the end of the age. Wow.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. I love it. I love it. I tell people like this, it really baffles me that but no, not really. I was gonna say it baffles me how people run away from something that can actually help them do what they say they want to do. But at the same time, I also recognize when you've been traumatized by something, your instinct is to run the opposite direction of that thing, not to lean into that thing and use it, you know, as Blade would say, use it. It's not that leaning into and running into facing forward into the thing that can actually propel you and launch you to the station that you say you want to be. I'm always so grateful when you share books with me, because again, like I said, whether I've read it or not, a different perspective, even hearing somebody just talk about it, like your what you felt when you read it. That even, does something to, your desire to want to dive into again. And like I said, I would really be interested to see what he has to say about the eclipses and what significance and what stories he ties that to in religiosity, regardless of which of the three religions that it is. So I would love to really see that. And as for the four horsemen of the apocalypse, as you know, that's in that Helios Biblios too, which means sun book, holy book, and so for those who would like to, take this graphic novel and take that thing called the Bible and, kind of look and see some graphics, you'll be able to see some things. It's just amazing, man. Like I tell you, this is what we do. This is what we do. We love it. So I thank you, Mr. Westbrooks, for bringing that wonderful book to us. 4-part book. You have book 1, Mr. Jabbar, what I'm saying? And then I have Beasley and Mendenheim here, with the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. This was the Surprise Me episode. I think we did fantastic in surprising each other. And I look forward to 2 weeks from now. We'll actually know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And let me just say, for all those watching, we never tell each other, even on the weeks that we are going to share a book, that we tell each other at the end, we don't plan to do the same genre, we don't plan any of that. We just go and pick a book and we bring it. And most times there is a connection. So we have an uncanny way of doing that, and I love it, so for me, that's all I got. That's all I got this one. I'm still trying to will spring, some more spring. Oh, wait a minute. I had some more days to wait, according to Mr. Jabbar. I just had to throw that one in there, cheesy as it is. But I just want to say that I thank everyone for joining us for another episode of UnRead. You can always reach out to Nick and I on Instagram. Nick at Mr. Westbrooks on Instagram, me at Mawulisatemple 1 on Instagram, and YouTube, Mr. Westbrooks. And for me, YouTube is Mawu Lisa with the Z 4610. We are here to talk about your books, our books in general, and you know what? Even maybe some movie decoding if you catch us on the right day. So, because we got some books that tie to movies that tie to other stuff, so we'll have a great conversation.
Yeah, yes, we will.
And then also you can always reach us via email, Mawulisatemple@gmail.com. We have some great things coming up in the next couple of weeks, over the summer and into the fall. Even we are working on planning our first in-person book event, so that would be fun. I don't know where we're gonna do it at, Mr. Westbrooks, but we got to find some place where we found some book lovers. I'm not going no place we don't have no book lovers. We got to go someplace. Or call them all to us or something. Right. But we got to put out the book call. But again, thank you for joining us for another episode of UnRead. I am your sister Roo. This is your brother Nick. We are coming to you from beautiful MaWu Lisa Temple, upstate New York, Hudson Valley. And we will see you next time. Peace.
Peace.